Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Another episode here today of what I'm calling naff to class. So again, basically just going into junk stores, finding stuff they sell for really cheap, bringing it home and trying to make it better really with something like my laser engravers I got over here, and then hopefully turning a profit on them. So basically having these lasers pay for themselves really. And on today's episode, I am going to be doing these jam jars. I picked up a pack of 6 of these for £4 they were, which equates to about 66 pence roughly each. So 66 pence each for these. So I can easily then engrave any design I want to on these, sell them. I can probably sell one of these for the price I paid for 6. So I'll probably sell one of these for £4 with an engraving on, and that is still quite cheap, I reckon. So that'll be £24 I could sell 6 of them for, which is a massive markup considering I'd only pay £4 for 6, and I could sell 6 for £24. Now, I myself have bought quite a few packs of these jars already because I have sold, I think it's about 50 it's going to be for a wedding, which I'm just going to engrave, obviously, a logo with some initials on it, and I'm going to be making a fair good profit on that. If you're looking to make money with your laser, something like this would go down a treat. Now, I could use my CO2 laser to do this, no problem, but I am going to be using my 5-watt diode laser to do these, just because I just have a bit more fun with that, to be honest with you. And I just find it a little bit easier to set things up with it and just let it go. And I know we'll get the job done. Now, I know a lot of you there are saying that you can't engrave any sort of design on glass with a diode laser, but I've got a little secret I'm going to be using where I'm going to be applying a paint on the front of these, which is going to allow me to engrave. Now, this paint is really cheap. Probably about the same price as one of these. Really cheap, and it works a charm. So I'm going to get the design done. I'm going to run some tests to see what the best settings are for these, because I haven't tried engraving these yet. So we'll do a couple of tests. We'll film that as well, so you can see what process I go through to do it. Once we're happy with the final results, then we'll set the final design up and we'll get engraving. Right, guys, so it's time to paint these glass jars now with our secret ingredient. Like I said earlier, it's really cheap, and all it is just kids' poster paint. This cost me £1.49 for 500 millilitres, and one bottle will go a long, long way. Now with that, you can just apply that with a paintbrush and let it dry. I'm just going to be using my airbrush I got here, apply a nice thin coat. Right, guys, so I've put a couple of thick coats of the black poster paint on there now using the airbrush. Again, you don't need an airbrush, you can do it with a paintbrush. I've allowed it to dry, so as you can see, so I haven't painted it on the back, I've just painted it on that one side. I'm just going to run a couple of test files now just to see what power I'm going to need and what speeds will work best for these as well. And once I'm happy with it, I'll grab another one, I'll paint that, and then we'll get ready to run the final design on it. Right, so over on the laser now, I've had to raise the laser up with these couple of 2x4s. I've got one in the front, one in the back. I forgot the thickness of these jam jars. Might make it a bit of a problem. So I just raised it up a little bit. Hopefully it shouldn't cause any problems. What I'm going to do now is set the height of the laser head, which is very simple on this machine. I just use this piece of acrylic, set it on top, set the height and tighten. Pull that away without scratching any of the paint off. Right then. So I got my design ready. Let's connect everything up. So I'm going to run a quick frame command. That'll just draw a quick square around my design. It's going to be right at the bottom there. It's only small. This is going to take like a couple of seconds just to engrave. And my test piece, it's going to be 65% power at 3000 speed. So let's just run a quick test. Right, we're done. Have a look what we got there. So I'm definitely going to lower the speed down because it was such a small image and there probably was a bit of play in the laser. So yeah, there we go, guys. That's engraved on there. That's pretty good. It's not at the higher setting, but I think I can lower the speed. Lower the speeds, and I'll lower the power a bit as well. But I'm going to run another quick one before I wash that off. All you need to do, the next step is once you're happy with it, you just wash the paint off the water. Very simple. But I'm going to run another one at a different speed and different power, and we'll see how that goes. All right then, guys, so we're back now. So that was the first one I did, and this was the second one. The second one does look a lot better. As you can see, the circle around the outside looks a bit squiff, but I think it's just because it's such a small design, and I was running at a fairly high speed for how small it was. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to wipe this paint off. I'm just going to use a bit of isopropyl alcohol and a dirty rag. Like I said, it does come off the water. Just wipe that away. Not got all the paint off, but look at that. See that? that's engraved on there now permanently. That speed and that power, let me see if I can actually get right in there. It's much better than that one in my opinion. See, it's a bit off, but that top one is perfect. So I'm going to be using the same settings again. So again, this is a 5-watt diode laser, 15 lines per millimeter, 2000 millimeters a minute, so 60% power. And we got, in my opinion, that is perfect. That is absolutely spot on. And again, guys, with the designs I'll be using here, if you do want a copy of them, I am putting them on my Patreon, which I'll put a link down below. Dirt cheap. There's a couple of different tiers. Just check them out. And yeah, if you want the files, names of the fonts and things like that, they'll all be on there for you as well. So my next jar is ready to go. As you can see, another nice layer of paint on there. So if you are doing this with a brush, try and get it as even as possible. Like I said, I don't think it really matters too much, just as long as you have got a good bit of coverage. And so, I mean, if there are any parts you've missed, like if you've gone quite deep on the brush stroke and you can see glass through it, it probably might not work as well. But I've got an even coverage all across. We're going to get this on the laser, we're going to get the design loaded up, and we're going to run this and see how it turns out. So once again, we got our jar loaded up in here. I have got the image loaded. I'll put the image on the screen. It was one of two images I was going to use. It was going to be like a cat one and a dog one. Again, both of them will be available on my Patreon. Link will be down in the description if you want to check that out. Like I said, there's a couple of tiers for it, so it's up to you if you want to get some really cheap files. I'll be uploading files there monthly and you'll have access to them all. But I'll go with the cat one on this one. It's all ready. If I home and if I frame, it'll run a quick frame around there. Now, I don't know if you can pick this up on camera, but the frame is done around it. It's actually kind of slightly engraved, or taken away, I should say, the paint. Yeah, I think you're picking up on the camera. So that's really good, because that's not going to engrave the glass at all, but it's just taking away the paint, so I know exactly where it's going. And I can see it's a bit wonky. But yeah, we're going to run this now. I'll run a time lapse on it, so you can just watch it as it goes if you want, and then we'll be back once it's done. Alright guys, so it's just done now. That took about 9 minutes, I think that's what it took. But yeah, how good does that look? So just need to wash off the paint and we'll see the final result. It'd probably be easier just to submerge this in just some soapy water, let it soak for a couple of minutes and it should just come off. That looks amazing. Honestly, that looks so good. I'm so glad I found out this technique. There we go, all the paint is off. Not sure how well you can see it there, but I'm just going to chuck something black in there just to make it so you can see a little bit better. And yeah, that is permanent now, guys. You don't need to do anything now to seal this either. That is done. But yeah, that's it, guys. Honestly, it is that simple. Just a bit of poster paint painted on and I just run and engrave. Very, very easy to do and guarantee it'll work. Like I said, that's the cheapest diode laser I could get my hands on. It's only a 5-watt diode and I've done it on here. I'm going to try something with these lids, see if there's anything I can do, but I don't think I can because I think they are metal. But I'm not sure. If you've learned something new here today and you did like the video, definitely down below press the like button, subscribe again if you are new here and you haven't, and we'll be doing more videos next. This is the second video I've done now where I'm basically turning junk into better stuff using my laser, and just showing you basically what you can achieve, with as little money as possible, but then making profit on these items. Like I said, I've sold loads of these already. I only purchased the jars 2 days ago, I think it was. I told friends and family about it. These are going to be a massive seller for me now, guys. So if you've got one of them cheap shops local to you, you can even get these online. I haven't found anywhere online as cheap as I actually bought these ones. But yeah, if you can pick them up, like I said, you can turn these for a profit so easily. And they're so easy to do. I'm going to be trying other stuff with glass, like, coloured engraving, stuff like that. So if you'd be interested to see that, again, definitely subscribe. So, when I do upload the video, you will get a notification and you will see it. And again, the files I've used here, also the file I'll put up on the screen now as well for the dog treat one, they'll be on my Patreon. So again, if you want them files for really cheap, just sign up to my Patreon and you'll get access to them as well. And you'll also get access to, obviously, future video files I do as well. All right, guys, I'm going to end it here. Again, I hope you enjoyed it and we will see you in the next one. Ta-ra now.